Welcome back to the Hot 7 Nightly News. Thank you for staying with us. Archdeacon of the Anglican Church, Christian Glasgow, is weighing in on the single parent/crime debate. He says while there is much that can be said about young people and maturity to parent a child, there is also much to be said about the importance of extended families and community involvement. Before society rakes young mothers over the coals for social ills affecting the country, Archdeacon Christian Glasgow wants communities to take a hard look at themselves. The firestorm of conversation surrounding the comments of the Prime Minister, he says, should cause everyone to take pause and evaluate what part they play in the solution to deviant behavior and crime. He says there is no denying that all parents have less support systems than were available in the past.
The extended family is now an extinct creature in our society. And make no mistake, the extended family was very, very important for the growth, development, and the discipline of young ones in our community and society. The extended family went beyond merely blood relatives, but literally everyone within the context of the community that one lived. And there was a sense then whereby the community had a responsibility for raising a child, and each child in the community was a child of the community who could have been disciplined, directed, and taught by any adult in the community.
Glasgow says families have become increasingly insular, and this has been to the detriment of the members of the family, children in particular. He strongly believes that the old adage rings true, that it really does take a village to raise a child. The village, including the church, he says, has to take back its rightful and crucial role.
We have now a very isolated community where individuals are so individualistic that the sense of camaraderie and community does not exist. And to my mind, that is one of the crucial elements in the poor upbringing of children in our society today, which we are seeing the result in terms of the rise in crime and violence and the extent of the crimes in our society. I believe that it is important for us to get back to basics, where we probably even need to teach parents how to be parents, how to raise the children God has given to them. This, I think, is one of the roles and responsibilities that the church is well placed to take up.
The Anglican priest does not dispute that maturity is an important aspect of parenting. He advocates for planned families, but says no matter the type of family, nuclear or single parent, it still takes a village. The National Workers' Union, NWU, has written to the Acting Labour Commissioner calling for an investigation into two issues brought to the attention of the union. One is an allegation that workers employed with Secure St. Lucia Limited are not being paid for their certified sick leave in keeping with the National Insurance Corporation's regulations. The other is an allegation that workers employed with the company are not paid for public holidays. The NWU says it is concerned that the said company seems to be a law unto itself and continues to intimidate workers who are determined to work for their rights. Labour Minister Stephenson King has called the fuss being made over the lack of a Labour Commissioner much ado about nothing. Since the current Labour Commissioner Ray Narcis proceeded on pre-retirement leave in January 2019, concerns have been raised about important documents not being signed. When presented with the concerns, King said he does not understand the fuss as there is an acting Labour Commissioner. He went on to explain the intricacies of the matter.
The acting Labour Commissioner is the Deputy Labour Commissioner, who has now moved into the position of acting Labour Commissioner. Now, you cannot appoint a Labour Commissioner unless the Labour Commissioner, who is now on pre-retirement leave, more or less exhausts his retirement leave. So people must understand the system. He has gone on his pre-retirement leave until such time when he exhausts the period of of the leave, which then concludes his service, only then can a Labour Commissioner be appointed.
On the issue of documents going unsigned, the minister says this is news to him.
I'm not aware of that. It has not been drawn to my attention. If it is drawn to the public domain, then I guess the public domain can assist them. But it has not been drawn to my attention, and then there's no such thing as documents cannot be signed. Once you've got someone in the seat, whether acting or otherwise, whether an officer in charge, all documents can be signed. There are documents to be signed by the minister signs, by the permanent secretary signs, and of course the acting Labour Commissioner.
The pre-retirement leave of the current Labour Commissioner ends on the 24th of September 2019. The curtains came down on this year's Jazz Festival on Sunday the 12th of May. The final event was hosted at Shangri-La in Moshi with a modest crowd. Some have dubbed this year's event a success, others say it was a complete failure. We want to know, what do you think?
The jazz aspect of the St. Lucia Music Festival is now over, and so far, mixed signals have been coming in with regards to whether it was successful or not. But what I want to know is what your thoughts are. Do you think Jazz 2019 was a success?
Well, for me, it wasn't successful. It was successful with who that enjoyed, because I didn't know when it started, and I never know when it ended. You understand? Because when I had no jazz, you know, I used to meet my friends that from foreign, they're coming down on the square. We meeting on the square, we go in La Place Carinage, we go in the next side there, Point Seraphine. You know, I used to enjoy jazz. I didn't even know about the opening of jazz. The opening of jazz, they tell me that was in a hotel. Because nobody can make no money in the hotel. You know, because jazz was, Lansiquat put jazz for poor people, man, to make a bread, man. You understand? And I ain't see jazz at all this year. I ain't feel it. And it's only when jazz was a place, I heard next day, jazz was so there, jazz was so. The people and them that organizing jazz for the United Workers' Party, they ain't ready yet.
Jazz on the whole this year, I have not feel it. I knows nothing too much. All I hear is just I hear on TV, on television that they're talking about it, but I have not seen it, I have not feel it. I don't know. I see nothing about jazz. Not yet.
I have never heard anything about the jazz particular for this time yet. So I was expecting for them to have jazz. So I don't know what requirements of the ministers, what are going to say about the jazz. What I'm expecting for that for us to have the jazz in St. Lucia, because that is one of our main fun of activity of music.
No, I didn't go.
Why didn't you go?
Why? Because I was at work. When you work in a resort, you don't have time.
Okay, do you find many of you, did you hear anything about the jazz itself?
Well, there was not much advertising this year. Mm-hmm. They were lacking advertising.
That's what you think?
Yeah,
so
that's what I thought.
So in your sense, would you say it was successful?
No. Not at all.
Or give reason?
No advertising.
Yeah.
I don't know, I only went to one performance.
You only went to one performance?
That's correct.
And how was it?
It was commendable.
Tell us, where was that venue?
It was in Rodney Bay. It was the ramp, and it was Gregory Porter, I think it was, and what's his name? His name is Duplessis. Jack, yeah. He's a cousin of mine.
I know him very well.
Yeah, good. Well, yes, we go to the Jazz Lounge every Saturday, so he usually plays there every Saturday, so we thought we'd go and support them.
But have you been to St. Lucia where the jazz was on a bigger scale?
This is the first time I've ever been to the jazz. In St. Lucia, that's correct.
I find it was very low-key, you know? So that's the reason why I didn't go.
Well, first of all, for me to comment on something, I was measured by something, but to me, I didn't see any much activity with jazz activity. I didn't hear anything much about jazz. I knew they were solid last year. Maybe the sunset, but for jazz this year, I'm not seeing any activity. So to me, I can't say it's phenomenal, but I can't see anything to even judge by. I can't see any activity, anything. That's my opinion about that.
No. First of all, this administration, when they first came in, they said jazz was dead. I didn't hear no word jazz from since 2016. Now I'm hearing jazz. Surprisingly, I'm hearing jazz and I'm wondering if it was supposed to be Soleil. But I'm now hearing jazz and I'm hearing jazz without jazz. And then again, Jazz before was benefiting the little person down there, the small vendor, the little person that have a little cooler, a little this, a little that. And in the little areas where we used to keep jazz, a lot of people used to benefit that are very small people. Now you know where jazz going. Jazz, jazz is the big people thing. Jazz is in the hotels now.
Well, you've just heard what they had to say. Want a chance to have your say? Join us next time. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
Those were your views in our Have Your Say segment. You're watching the Hot 7 Nightly News. Stay with us. We'll be right back.